Welcome back to the Media Unrestricted podcast. I'm Chase.
And I'm Dylan.
We don't have a fully loaded show for you, but don't forget we do have that Batman full spoiler review coming for you at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But let's get into those topics with I Am Legend 2 is officially happening. This is coming from Screen Rant. Warner Brothers is officially making I Am Legend 2 with Will Smith back to star, and he will be joined by Michael B. Jordan. Now, I Am Legend 2 has been in the work for a long time. I think around since the first one came out, since around 2008, actually. But the door for the sequel appeared to close in 2014. So they kind of, I mean, it's been kind of talked about here, talked about there. Um, it was announced that Warner Brothers was working on a reboot to the novel by Richard Matheson. Um, but then it kind of went quiet over with that. But then Warner Brothers had decided to just make a new entry, and it is unclear what time the new film will exist. Will it be a reboot or a sequel to the film? So, but I mean, this is really cool because I haven't seen I Am Legend 2 for a long time, very long time. It's been a while since I've seen I Am Legend, but I remember liking it for what it was. Deadline. This comes from a different article, but Deadline had shared the news that Smith is back to produce and star on the sequel, which will also see Black Panther and creates Michael B. Jordan to produce. It is the first time Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan will work together on the movie. Um, Avica Goldson is working on the the script, but as of right now, there is no current deal for a director or a release date. Release date is not set yet. So we're still in the very early stages of I Am Legend 2, but I am very excited and looking forward to it because I thought the first one was really good. Um, I just hope it turns out well. But Dylan, what do you think about I Am Legend 2? Have you seen the first one? Are you a fan? And what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm really excited for I Am Legend 2. I know that a lot of people are wondering how they're going to do an I Am Legend 2 if it is a sequel, because at the end of the theatrical version of I Am Legend 1, him and the zombies did both blow up. Or zombies, vampires, whatever they are. They both blew up. They all blew up. But whenever the DVD version came out, and I don't know if Blu ray was around back then, so I don't know if they had a Blu ray version, but I know the DVD version they had a alternate ending where it found where they both ended up not dying, I think, and like the zombie things just went off, and then Will Smith left, and I think they said there was a community or something that discovered that there might be a cure for it. So I'm wondering if the sequel might go towards like doing more stuff with the alternate version where they found the cure, and they might try to like get the cure out there to people, and that might be what the sequel is about. I have no idea, but that would be a really interesting idea. I'm assuming this would probably involve an older like the character that he played in the first one. It would be an older version of that character, I would assume. But I have absolutely no idea where they would go with it, and I am super excited for it because I Am Legend was an awesome movie. I just can't wait to see what they do with it.
And moving on to our next article from Screen Rant as well, the new Alien movie is coming. Uh, this will become from the filmmaker who made Don't Breathe and the 2013 remake of The Evil Dead, which is a great remake. Really recommend that one. He has been tapped to write and direct the original standalone Alien feature from 20th Century Fox. Uh, Now there is don't forget about there is a show coming sometime I think either next year I believe that's actually going to be set on Earth, which I'm kind of looking forward to that. But this is a whole movie between I think Alvarez I believe is his name. He had to say that he is a rapid fan of the franchise and pitched to Ridley Scott many years ago, and the idea remained in Scott's brain until last year, whenever he called Alvarez out of the blue and asked him if he was still up to doing it. And Alvarez did not think twice about it. No release date on this movie at all, but it will hit Hulu, and Ridley Scott is set to produce it as well. I'm not the biggest fan of the Alien franchise. I think some of them are good, like Alien and Aliens are the great ones, but some of the other ones are not so good. But I'm definitely looking forward to actually just checking this out and looking forward to the show. That's whenever it comes out. Um, so definitely more Alien news. Heck, maybe sometime, because I'm not sure if Dylan's fully watched it. Maybe me and him can binge watch the whole franchise and maybe give you our full thoughts on them and maybe rank them or something fun for that. But Dylan, what are your full thoughts on this Alien movie in the works?
I haven't seen any of the movies. I obviously know about them. I know about some of the characters, and I obviously know about the Xenomorph because he's like one of the biggest characters in pop culture history, like like with the Predator and stuff. But yeah, I'd be completely down for a like an entire Alien movie marathon because I haven't seen any of them. Do a marathon like we did with the Predator movies, just so we can get ready for the show and for the movie that's coming out. And yeah, the introduction or the addition of Fede Alvarez is a really great addition, like you were saying earlier, with everything he's done. And Ridley Scott, like he's one of my favorite directors in Hollywood right now, and especially one of my favorite sci-fi directors. I'm I just can't wait because the dude who originally making Alien and then making all this Alien stuff, like I'm on board. I'm 100% on board.
And now moving on to TV shows, we have the Walking Dead spinoff Negan and Maggie coming. Now, I'm not going to really talk about this one because I'm not the biggest Walking Dead fan. I used to like it when it started, but I really don't care for it as much now. But Dylan's a big fan of Walking Dead, so here is Dylan's thoughts.
So Isle of the Dead, that's what the Maggie and Negan spinoff show is going to be called. As you can see on the screen right now, I got the article from IGN, and it's gonna be taking place in Manhattan. Yeah, that's what they mean by Isle. They're going with Manhattan Island. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that probably all of the bridges that lead there might either be overrun by zombies or completely destroyed. No idea what happened to New York during this whole zombie apocalypse, but it's an interesting idea, especially to have two characters who, like Maggie wanting to kill Negan for the longest time, and then obviously she probably still does, but she is she doesn't want to admit it, but you can tell just how they've written her character in this season that she's starting to warm up to him a little bit. She's seen that while he does still have some of that Negan personality in him, he is coming over to he is basically on the good side now. And he does want to help people and do stuff like that because obviously Rick knows best. And I think this is an interesting idea because, like I was saying, you don't know how their characters are going to interact with each other when it comes to them being by themselves. And some people are starting to wonder if maybe this could lead to, if Rick's not in the show, like in the last episode or something, if the show does lead to them finding Rick possibly. And with that, you never know. I just think this is a really interesting idea, and you have no idea what's going to happen in this because New York City is one of the biggest cities in the world, so you could expect huge hordes of zombies, especially in New York City proper.
Now, getting back to movie news, let's not forget those box office numbers. Me and Dylan were both interested to see how it was going to stack up, and it stacked up a way we thought it would be. Batman, number one, of course, without any doubts, with $134 million. Uncharted came in at number two with 11 million. Dog was number three with 6 million. Spider-Man still making its money at 4 million. And Death on the Nile finished out the top five with 2 million. But the big thing we were looking for in that was what was the Batman's numbers? And they actually were more than what people were expecting, which is great. I'm glad people were able to go out there and see it. I've seen Batman 3 times, and I am not afraid to admit that I've seen it 3 times. I love the movie so much. We'll talk about that here in a minute, though. But this is great for this movie. I knew it was going to make more, so much money, and I think it's even going to make a lot of money this week. So I can't wait to talk about this week's numbers and see how it stacks up. But Dylan, looking at those numbers, what do you think?
Yeah, those are great numbers. I don't know why anybody expected Batman to do worse than this. Like, if anything, people should have expected more out of the Batman. Like, because this movie was being so hyped up, and it was the marketing on this movie was incredible. Like, I don't understand why people were expecting less of this. Now, 134 million is the second best opening during the what people are still calling the pandemic era, and it's the second most amount of money made in a move from a movie since 2019. Obviously behind Spider-Man No Way Home, which is still holding in the top 5. Kudos to that movie and all the money it's going to continue to make for the next few weeks. The one in here that's surprising me is Dog. Now, I'm surprised that movie's made as much as it has because while it is I'm sure I think that movie is catered towards like the military family and the veteran family, which I mean, I live in I have a veteran family. My brother-in-law is a veteran. Him and his family went to go see it, and they said they loved it. So maybe I shouldn't have underplayed what I thought Dog was gonna do. Because I mean, the trailer was cute. It just didn't seem like a movie for me, you know. Because I mean, I like Channing Tatum. He's cool. He's just not my favorite. They're just not my favorite actor in the world. But with Uncharted, I'm really happy that's doing so well, and that Sony it did feel like to a lot of people and to me especially that they just released Uncharted out there and put it out there to die because February is considered like a really bad month for movies in general. But it made a ton of money when it came out, and I think that really forced Sony to say, "Hey, we got our next big franchise here. We got our next Indiana Jones style franchise for Sony." And they're going to be making more, and I'm happy they are because I absolutely loved the first movie, especially as somebody who played the games.
And now let's get to that Batman full spoiler review. All of our topics are through. Again, this is a full spoiler review. So if you not have seen the Batman and don't want to hear any of these things, please step away from this video. We thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. But let's get right into it. As you guys know, Dylan's and I's thoughts that this is a masterpiece. I give it a 10 out of 10. It is my favorite film of this year so far. I know we're still early into the thing, but it's my favorite film, and I really, with what we've got, I think it has the chance to stay at number one for the rest of the whole year. I mean, I know we've got Morbius and Doctor Strange Enter the Multiverse and Jurassic World. So we got a lot of good things. Halloween Ends coming, just to name a few. But I just don't know if any of those films can beat this movie. But we'll see when it comes. But this film has a great soundtrack, and the song by Nirvana, Something in the Way, is a great song. I've listened to the full soundtrack um, actually yesterday, all together, and it is so good just to listen to. And Something in the Way, I have listened to like several times. That is a great song, and I hope I can't remember what the guy's name who did this music for this. I hope he wins like an Oscar or something, gets nominated because he deserves it. He did a fantastic job on this instrumental, like with the bum 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 bum. Bum. I mean, how can you not just like? I've randomly just started just like humming that or um, doing that. It's just a great soundtrack. Matt Reeves, he knew from the very beginning when he watched this movie, he knew how to make a good Batman film, and this needs to be a long franchise right now. I'm telling you, folks, this doesn't need to be 2 movies, 3 movies. This needs to be a long, like the MCU. It needs to be like so many movies just from this Batman universe because this universe is interesting, and I just don't want this film franchise to end. I don't want like the Dark Knight where we got 3 movies and then we end with Robin being introduced and Batman faking his death and being with it. Just we need more. Don't end it stupid. End it good. Robert Pattinson. killed this role. He did a fantastic job. He shut up the haters for sure. He is my new favorite Batman, and I don't think anyone will think of Twilight or the Harry Potter one he was in. I don't think anyone's gonna think about that. They're just gonna be thinking about Batman and how good he was. And just like I said, he shut up the haters. Um, Paul Dano as the Riddler was perfect. He's scary, and definitely, like I said, I fully believe he took a lot out of Heath Ledger, which is a great thing because definitely just from that first scene where he takes out the mayor's son, I mean, not the mayor's son, the mayor's dad, whatever, the mayor, excuse me. You knew because when he just stands there and just kind of just looks at him in the shadows, it's like, yeah, Paul Dano, you did it. And then some of the phone calls. The Riddler is a great new villain. He's not my top villain for sure, but he is a great new addition to the Batman movies and stuff. Colin Farrell as the Penguin was amazing and stole the show every time he was on the screen. He's not a main villain, he's like a side villain, but every time he's there, he is great. And I cannot wait to see him in that Penguin spinoff we talked about last week and in more movies because he's so good. You can't even tell it's Colin Farrell, but he's just so good. And I think he deserves to be up for an Oscar as well. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman was great, and she's definitely my new favorite version of the character. Um, she just, I read Batman Year One before I saw this movie, like a few weeks ago, and this is definitely where you can see they took the inspiration from because it's kind of the same person, that kind of same like ideas and everything. Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon was awesome. It definitely shows that because I mean Gordon is definitely like I mean he's white, but he doesn't always have to be because Jeffrey Wright brought it to the everything to the table and he did a great job. I can't wait to see him working again with Batman because the chemistry him and Pattinson had was so good. Even though, like I said, it was just year two for Batman, but you just tell they've been working together, and it's gonna be great to see them continually working together. Andy Serkis was a very good Alfred. I didn't have no thing that he wouldn't be. And there's a point during the middle of the film where they kind of make you think he died, thanks to one of Riddler's like um, cards he sends to Batman, and it blows up. I was gonna be like, "Whoa, did you really kill off Alfred? Are we going there?" But then you see him in the hospital and thing. I was like, "Okay, so he's not dead, and he's probably not gonna die. We're good." But Andy Serkis, good job. I can't wait to see it again, man. Like I said, the opening part with the Riddler worked so much and definitely started off the film in a creepy but thrilling way. Because, I mean, the mayor's just like watching the TV and he just comes out from behind with the carpet tool and just hits him, keeps hitting him. And then, like, the duct tape. Just, just a great scene. Like I said, definitely started the film off in the right way. But then we get to that Batman monologue where he's kind of like talking about what's going on in Gotham and how the enemies fear the shadows. I mean, I actually love the quote he says. I actually got it right here. I saw the picture, so I needed to get it for you all. Where he talks about kind of like the shadows and like it shows like two criminal acts. One guy robbing um, like a store, and then the other one is like dude spray painting on kind of damaging property. And then it shows them kind of looking off into like the shadows, just dark, just thinking he's there. But this quote kind of always hits me. That says, "Fear is a tool. They think I'm hiding in the shadows, but I am the shadows." That is it's a great shot, first of all, just showing because you can just see on them their faces that they're just like afraid. It just looks cool because like you kind of question yourself, is he there? Is he really there in the shadows, just watching them and waiting for them to come to him so they can get him? That's a great shot. kind of one of my, actually, really kind of one of my favorite moments in this film. But then Batman makes his first appearance, emerging from the shadows, taking out that clown gang we've seen in the trailer. And boy, that scene is awesome. That scene is really cool. Like with that theme, bum, 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 bum. Ah, it's so cool. And then, um, definitely, I gotta say, Gotham City was done perfect in this film. I mean, this is definitely the best iteration of Gotham City we have seen in all like the Batman movies and stuff. He definitely nailed that, showing like the kind of the crime and the rainy skies and just how bad of a city it really is. Then it goes like to where Batman's first crime scene investigation was really good. And see, like, I like how the cops really still didn't trust who he is, and like then it cuts to like the mayor is like in the chair, like with the thing over his head, and like his Batman knows because he gets his thumb cut off that it was cut off before he even died. It's just cool how they made actually Batman really smart in this one. And then the thumb drive. Can we not talk about how good that scene was? Where they go to the mayor's where his car is and look for like because they Batman's able to decrypt the code, and then he finds that it says drive, so he goes to where his car is, and then pulls out a thumb drive with his thumb on the USB. So that was really cool, and definitely seeing Jeffrey Wright expression was just priceless. I love that scene so much. The whole iceberg lounge scene where the twins open the door and Batman goes, "You know who I am?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then he gets the other one. He goes, "Don't you gotta get out of here. There's gonna be blood on your suit." And then Batman's response is the greatest: "Mine or yours?" And then he just beats those guys up. It's just that was really good. And then Bruce goes in later in the film to the lounge, and then he says the same thing. "You know who I am?" And they go, "Yeah, you're Bruce Wayne." And then he gets the other twin, and he wants to Falcone, and then he says, and they just let him go. And then he comes a third time, and that time he's just done. He just sneaks in. That was good. That was awesome. I love that. The funeral scene was, I mean, we got a clip of that, so we got a little bit of a taste of that. But seeing the full thing was awesome because like you get that after that, then it's kind of Batman's trying to help the guy actually get out. He has to solve 3 riddles from the Riddler. He helps him with the first 2 real quick on those riddles. And then the third one, he couldn't give who the rat was. And then he blows up, knocking out Batman. So then he gets taken to, like, more or less, like, the cops get him. And there's just, I mean, like, the cops are trying to still get to Batman, get into his head. And then there's that where James Gordon and him are just kind of talking about other stuff, not talking to him, like, but he's trying to act like he's talking shit to him. And then he punches him because he tells him to, so he can go out the side door. And then the moment of, you could have thrown that punch. I did. And then how Batman escapes that whole thing, he uses the new flying suit, which is really cool to see. But it really shows that Batman still is in the process of learning all this stuff, because then he gets caught up on like a bridge and then falls and get hits and stuff. So it shows Batman is still in the learning process, and I think in the further movies we'll get like this more Batman that we know, and like he knows all the stuff and everything. The Batmobile scene, the chase scene with Penguin that everyone's kind of been seeing like in the trails and stuff, was really really cool. One of the best like chase scenes of all time, and I love this Batmobile so much. Yeah, I mean, I know it's just a sports car, but this thing is badass. And I mean, this scene, just that one shot that we seen from the trailer where he's able to get Penguin like and like send him like more or less flying, which he should have been dead, but whatever. We're not caring about that right now. And then just seeing Batman kind of like walking from that car with the flames, that's cool. And then just the music, bum 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 bum, and then he kind of leans down and kind of looks at him. That's cool. That's just cool. And then the kind of where the Riddler kind of leaks evidence about Thomas, and this also where we get a Hush reference. So hopefully that becomes in a further movie. But this kind of goes into a little bit of backstory about Bruce's mom's like history with mental illness and how her mother killed her dad, and then she killed herself. Um, and then he kind of learns that um, um, excuse, Thomas, excuse me, sorry, Thomas Wayne paid Falcone to murder the journalist who was going to get leak all that information. But then it kind of turns out that Falcone paid someone to have Thomas and Martha killed to prevent all that. So a lot of good stuff, information in that. That's a really good part of the film, just to learn stuff. But really, then Bruce goes to Alfred saying that he lied and all this stuff. So that is a good moment because guess what? That is all we get talking about Batman's past. Because Matt Reeves said that he wasn't going to talk about what we already knew about how Batman became Batman and all that stuff. So I applaud you, Matt Reeves, because we've seen it before. We don't need to see it again. So thank you for not giving us that much. And then whenever let's say get Falcone, because it finds out he is the rat, and then Riddler shoots him from like his like the apartment that was right across the thing, because he had to bring him into the light. That was what the Riddle said. And then so Riddler gets arrested at the diner place, like you see in the second trailer. So then it goes to Batman and Riddler and the interrogation scene because he goes, the Riddler's asking for you. This whole scene, I mean, it's about 5-10 minutes, probably not 10 minutes, plus about 5, 6, 7 minutes. It's so good. Just the talking, you were just interested because Paul's really the one that's really doing most of the talking. But it is so interesting just to hearing everything because it kind of makes you think, does he know that he's Bruce is Batman? Because he goes, Bruce Wayne. But it really doesn't make you, it kind of makes you think if it's him or not. And then he gives one of the lines I keep quoting a lot. He goes, what's blue and black and dead all over? You. I quote that scene a lot. I haven't quoted her in the movie. It's so good. This whole scene kind of gives you vibes of The Dark Knight when he did it to the Joker. But this one is so good. If you could just I mean, this is like a moment you definitely will remember. I will definitely for sure. And then gets to the final battle because like Riddler blows up like where the water can just come in and that kind of flood the city. So then it kind of what the whole plan was to kill the new mayor. I can't remember what her name was. She was a woman. I can't remember her name. Excuse me. Anyways, but it was to set these people to kill her. So like it's all these Riddler's henchmen kind of stuff. And there's a lot of them. And I'm really still surprised this scene hasn't got a lot of controversy just because how it kind of works and everything. But anyways, this whole scene is really cool too because it's Batman more or less fighting these people in the Raptors. So that's really cool. But let's get to that cameo from the one, the only, the Joker. Because after Batman's already beat all that, we cut to the jail cell where Riddler is like kind of crying and stuff. And then in the cell next to him, you see someone kind of like lean up against like where the window kind of is. And it's the Joker because you can kind of tell it's him. And then he says, um, what's the old saying go? One day you're on top and the next day you're a clown. That was a good line. But I know John Campea really doesn't like this moment because he says it feels really forced and everything. But I feel like you gotta set up a villain for sometime in the future. I'll get a little bit more into what I think about the sequels and stuff here soon. But I really kind of like this moment because every time I've seen it 3 times, it's so good. Just the back and forth between them, hopefully setting up a sequel with the Joker and the Riddler teaming up together. But who knows? We'll see. Just a great moment, in my opinion. And makes me also set up because Dylan, you made the comment about this. Um, the mayor's son could possibly be maybe a next Robin because they had him in here multiple times. So I would like that if they did that. Set him up to be the next Robin. Just give it a little bit more time, let him get older and stuff. But that'd be really cool to have a Robin again. And now getting to those spin-offs and like the sequel ideas. I just found out that Gotham PD show they had planned first has been canceled now, so it's just the Arkham show they planned in Penguin. So 2 still good shows, but I kind of was interested in that PD one. I think that'd have been a cool side to see. But for sequel ideas, um, I don't think you go with Joker right away. I really don't. I think you kind of set him up like Thanos and give him a few more movies and build him up. I think the best way to go with this is because I know Matt Reeves has interest in doing Mr. Freeze. So that'd be cool. Maybe a more serious, dark tone Mr. Freeze. But on the website, rattlada.com, this line, the computer the website they went to in the movie, him and Gordon did, you go to that because it's a real website. Before the film, like you had to solve riddles, and then you would get that video that the Riddler did leaking the evidence about Thomas Wayne. But now it gives you this kind of like these numbers, which are when the movie came out, and then it shows the first appearance of Batman comic, and then it gives you the first appearance of Penguin, first appearance of Riddler, first appearance of Catwoman, and then it gives you one more. What's that one is the first appearance of Two-Face. So maybe in the sequel they'll set up Two-Face coming in thing, which would be really cool because we didn't get much of Two-Face in The Dark Knight, which he was really a standout. And then we had Tommy Lee Jones one, which is all right, but not great. So maybe that's where we're going. I would love to see that. But they also tease to us if you click on because it says click your for your reward or something like that. There is a picture, and then you got kind of like solve what this riddle is saying, and people have figured it out. It says, "You think I'm finished, but perhaps you don't know the full truth. Everyone has a new beginning. Something is coming." So, and it also has kind of like right under that it says like it's a loading time, and I believe at last check it's at 59%. It goes up every like 2 times a day. So whenever that gets 100, maybe we get like a sequel. Like that's when they announce it, or something's coming. So stay tuned with that very soon because I definitely want to show and talk to you all about whatever that will be. Like I said, this is a 10 out of 10 movie. Love it so much. I think it is the best Batman movie. Robert Pattinson is my favorite Batman. And I can't wait for the next movie and the spin-offs and everything more Batman. But Dylan, I know I took probably a lot of stuff here from you, but what are your full spoiler review thoughts on the Batman?
It can be cruel, poetic, or blind, but when it's denied, it's violence you may find. Justice. The answer is justice. And Matt Reeves did justice to this character. This is the absolute best live action iteration of Batman we have ever had on screen. Before today, I would have said Batfleck was my favorite, as a lot of people did. But this right now is my current iteration of live action Batman. everyone knows that Batman in the comics is a really good detective, and he takes time to solve mysteries and uses tech sometimes to help with solving mysteries. And this movie really leans into the detective part of his character. And to me, that's when Batman is at his absolute best. When he's doing all he can to try to decode a mystery and try to solve a mystery through his detective skills. And with this being the year 2 Batman, he's really like he pulls a lot of his punches, and he gets punched a lot, as you can tell. There's a scene where he's pulling his shirt down and he's got a bunch of scars all over his back and everything. So he does get his ass kicked quite a bit whenever he's in fights. But that's, like I said, that's just because he's still in year 2. He's still not as experienced as the middle-aged Batman from the other movies. And this movie just really does his character justice. Paul Dano as the Riddler, like Chase said, is fucking phenomenal. Colin Farrell's Penguin is absolutely incredible too. He's the best live action iteration of Penguin, better than Danny DeVito, absolutely. Like that wasn't hard, but yeah, he is. Like Chase said, Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman, my favorite iteration of Catwoman we've had on the big screen. And like Chase was mentioning, they do make it references to Robin in this movie. I think they are probably setting up for Robin in either the second movie or whatever the third movie is going to be. Because there are 2 different candidates in this movie that could be Robin. Towards the beginning of the movie, you see, since it's Halloween, which alludes to obviously the Long Halloween comic, you see a group of gang members wearing like white and black, what looks like clownish makeup. And then there's one specific guy who has half the makeup on and half his regular face on, which I guess can be an allusion to him being like he's half in the gang life and half like not in it. Because whenever Batman's done beating up that whole gang, that guy with half the makeup off is just standing there staring at him, and then when Batman starts walking towards him, that guy just runs away, and Batman's like, all right, fine. So it might be alluded that he might come back as Robin for the other ones, because he was, I don't remember who they said. I think they said he played Tim Drake in Titans, if I'm correct on that. That same actor. Also, I think it was the mayor's little kid's son. His dad was murdered by the Riddler, and it's alluded to that he might possibly become Robin in later movies, because him and Bruce Wayne have a lot of eye contact in this movie whenever they're around each other. So I'm wondering if Bruce sees himself in that kid, and he's gonna show that kid that it's not all about vengeance, and that he can make sure what happened to him doesn't really happen to anybody else if he joins him. That kind of stuff, if that makes any sense. And like Chase was saying about the chase scene with Penguin, one of the best chase scenes I've ever seen in a movie. I'm not a Fast Furious fan, so I don't know about their chase scenes, but man, it was just an all-around great movie, and I've only seen it once personally. He said he's seen it 3 times. I'd like to see it more, but I just don't have the money to go spend $10 to go to a movie theater like every few days, you know. But that's just me. But I highly recommend you go out and watch it, because it's such a fantastic movie. Paul Dano's Riddler to me is better than Heath Ledger's Joker. I'm sorry. I've said, I don't know if I've said it on the show, but I've said multiple times in person to people and online that I think The Dark Knight is overrated, and I don't think that Heath Ledger is a very good Joker either, because he's not comic book accurate to me. Sure, he blows stuff up and he kills people, but that's not all Joker is. I don't know. I just don't feel that it's the best iteration of Joker we've had. I still think the best iteration of Joker we've had in film is Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. To me, he looks like the Joker. And with that Joker 2 sequel that's planned to come out within the next few years, I'm expecting him to really go into the role as Joker and knock that out of the park. But saying that, moving on to sequel talk. sure the ending towards the end of this movie it sets up a Joker in a sequel, but I don't know if they will go that way. But like Chase said, they really should not go with Joker in the sequel. They should probably, like you said, hold him off for a few movies. What I think they should do with a sequel is either go into Matt Reeves' idea of possibly making a down to earth Mr. Freeze, or possibly what I've seen from a lot of fans speculating a Court of Owls movie. That could be really, really interesting because there's a lot of avenues they can go with that sort of thing. But yeah, that's my thoughts and our thoughts on Batman. Like Chase said, be sure to let us know in the comments how you feel about Batman.
And that is the end of our show. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Batman. What did you think? So if you could go down in the comments below and let us know. But until next time, I'm Chase.
And I'm Dylan.
We'll talk to you then.